Now, speaking of apparently left-wing violence, there's a clip going around from Jubilee that, unfortunately, I don't think people paid a lot of attention to it. There's this guy, Tim Miller, who, man, if not for Trump, this guy was the Republican Party. This guy worked. He was a spokesman for the RNC. He was Jeb Bush's spokesman in 2016. He was the press secretary for the not Jeb. It's Jeb for the Jeb campaign. And now he is a radical, liberal, left-wing writer, commentator, goes on MSNBC, very pro-LGBT. So he goes on the Jubilee show, Surrounded, and he argues with a very, very articulate woman. And he argues over this term fascist, this specifically over the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and how, it's not that the left calls Republicans fascists, because it's accurate. And it's not that the left targets and tries to kill Republicans because they're fascists. It's that they call them fascists in order to justify killing them. They've been doing that with Trump. They've been doing that with a lot of people. They obviously did it with Charlie. Listen to Tim Miller's hideous, callous response. This guy used to be a press secretary for a Republican presidential candidate recently.
I'd like to address the fascism claim that you made, specifically the fascism, because we've seen even, for example, Charlie Kirk last month was shot and killed. And so what happens when we use inflammatory flames like fascist, it paints people a certain way.
I hear you, Noel, but here's the thing. If they don't want to be called a fascist...
That's like me saying if you want lax border policies, then you're an anarchist. It's a false equivalency.
But the right calls
add
the left communists and enemy within all the time.
Because you do this, then that justifies it. That's not okay.
Look, if they don't want to be called fascists, they shouldn't act like fascists. I just think that if this was not this country, if you saw unmarked cars with mass people hassling and all, look at the story.
If they don't want to be called fascists, they shouldn't act like fascists. It's no wonder that Tim Miller goes on MSNBC. It sounds just like the guy who was on MSNBC, Matthew Dowd, Democrat strategist, while Charlie was dying, who said, well, if you don't want to get killed, you probably shouldn't use this hate speech. His exact words were something close to, hate breeds hate, doesn't it? As if to say Charlie had it coming. Tim Miller's saying exactly the same thing. Yeah, if they don't want to get called fascists, they shouldn't act like fascists. Now, of course, they don't. Republicans actually could probably learn a lesson or two from slightly more stalwart, rock-ribbed people, okay? The Republicans are quite liberal in their political philosophy, in their premises, and often in their behavior. Nothing even close to... The most right-wing mainstream Republican today is to the left of Democrats during the Bill Clinton era on most issues. And yet, he says, look, the first starting point is, if you're a fascist, we can kill you. If you're Hitler, if you're a Nazi, if you're a fascist, we can kill you because you're posing this existential threat to the country, and so we can kill you. And no, we're not going to stop calling you fascists. Even though the guy who murdered Charlie, I called him a fascist, said, hey, fascist catch. We're not going to stop calling you fascist. If you want us to stop calling you fascist, stop being a Republican. Stop being a conservative. Then maybe we'll stop killing you. Right now, go to expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Show. Picture this. You walk over to your computer, you pull up your entire browsing history, you hit print, then you nail those pages to your front door for every neighbor to see. Pretty crazy, right? Now, I hope no one's looking at anything untoward, first of all. But these days, they find out that you're watching the Michael Knowles Show on your browser. You post that, your lib neighbor finds out. All of a sudden you got to hire private security. Every single day, if you are not protecting yourself with ExpressVPN, what is happening is you're broadcasting everything you're looking at on the internet. The thing most people don't realize is that your ISP sees every single website that you have ever visited. In many countries, they are actually required to keep detailed logs of your online activity for years, just in case the government wants to take a look. If you're in the US, it gets even worse because ISPs can sell your personal data to whomever they please. Now, you cannot stop the ISP from trying to collect this information, but you can make sure they never get it in the first place. That is where ExpressVPN comes in. ExpressVPN is just terrific. I've used them for the better part of a decade at this point. It's easy. I'm kind of a Luddite. You press one button on your phone, your tablet, your computer, you're protected. Right now, you can protect yourself on up to 14 devices. Find out how you can get up to 4 extra months for free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by going to expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Show. Total confidence Doesn't change his mind at all. This is not some extreme left. I mean, he is an extreme left winger, but this is a guy. This was a Republican recently. This is a moderate. This is a guy who still writes for outlets that pretend to be at least slightly conservative. It brought me to this conclusion that most of liberalism, in theory and in practice, is upheld by widespread and fanatical belief in things that just aren't true. No, you are fascists. No, you're not. Here's all the evidence as to how they're not fascist. Here's nope, sorry. Listen, just one last clip from it's unbelievable. It's worth watching the whole episode. Another very articulate young woman explains why it's helpful to her to be able to exercise her Second Amendment rights because men can threaten her.
If they were to think that firearms can be owned by anybody, that reduces the amount of them coming into my home in the first place. And second of all, if I were to have a gun, that is the ultimate equalizer. I cannot fight a 200-pound man off. And for me, it kind of raises the security.
You might be able to. Hey, look, here's the...
No, you might be able to. This like cute little girl. This cute little girl says, hey, I obviously cannot fight off a 200-pound man. You might be able to. You don't need a gun. You might be. No, you can't. Under no circumstances can any woman fight off any 200-pound man. It's not even like, well, most women can't fight off most. No, not one single woman on the face of the earth who has ever lived can fight off with her bare hands any 200-pound man. I don't care if he's the fattest, least healthy slob. I don't care. I don't even care how old he is. It just can't happen. Tim Miller, I think, has a lot of confusion about the difference between men and women. But it's true. It's not just him. It's all of liberalism. It is in many ways. Ronald Reagan said, the problem with our liberal friends is not just that they're ignorant. It's that they know so many things that aren't so. And that's right. So much of it is based on just absolute, complete confidence in things that simply are not true. And if you contradict them in any way, especially these days, what they will tell you is, well, maybe we'll just kill you. Yeah, well, if you don't want us to call you fascists and then use that designation as a justification to murder you, nearly murder the president, murder the most prolific and prominent defender of civil debate in all of America on a college campus for trying to talk it out, commit violence at all sorts of other conservative speaking events, and also, by the way, try to blow up the party headquarters, then you just shouldn't state the truth. And I bet that guy didn't lose 1 second of sleep after that. So what do we do about it? On the left and the right, I guess getting to my point on even the most rock-ribbed conservatives being like kind of liberal in their assumptions. Everyone seems to agree we just got to talk more. And there are debates on exactly how to talk on the left, but the left would still say in principle that they support free speech. And the right has for years said we're free speech absolutists. And what do we need? We need a free marketplace of ideas. That was a great clip. Now stop. Wait a minute. Hold my cup, put some liquor in it. Ring the bell, subscribe. Come on. Do it. See ya.